thought that this beautiful Sunday morning could have been a perfect day for, well, a perfect day's bike tour here in Tokyo. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. I discovered the movie Perfect Days a couple of years back and watched it a couple of times until now. And every single time it managed to convey strong but different emotions. And I have to say it's one of my favorite movies of all time, if not my most favorite. I'm really affectionate towards it, especially because of the story it has around my life. I managed to watch it with some important people, and also I'm really close with the person that suggested it to me. It's about the quiet life of an introverted toilet cleaner that lives in Tokyo. And I think the story needs to be understood just by looking at the images, scenarios and the moods, rather than hearing some narrations or some words. That's one of the best features, I think. Feel free to watch this video whether you already watched or not the movie. There won't be any major spoilers, and I think you could gain some interesting perspectives either way. We're starting off with the house of a protagonist, which interestingly enough is just 15 minutes from where I live by bike, something I discovered after coming to Tokyo and has been a major starting point for this idea. It's a tiny house tucked away in a secondary alleyway. It's located near this beautiful, quiet shrine as well. It is now occupied by, well, residents, and I didn't want to stick around too much, especially because there were people this morning coming in and out of the house, and me staying outside of their house filming could have looked a little bit creepy. In the movie there's a vending machine just outside of the house where the protagonist gets his morning coffee, but I guess it was just a prop for the movie, since it's not there anymore, and the movie is not that old. Right, moving on to the next destination with the sky tree watching on us. It's gonna be Denki-yu, a public sento, which is a public bathhouse, very common in Japan. A place where you can go, get a shower, and relax in a hot tub, or a cold one if you're brave enough. This is a place where the protagonist spends his time after a tiring day of work. I actually managed to try the sento a couple of days before recording this video with a friend who was here visiting Tokyo, and I loved the atmosphere and the design as well. It has a drawing of Mount Fuji on the tiles inside the bathroom. It reminded me of the 20s, the Showa period in Japan. Quite an icon when it comes to retro style. Moving on to the next location, just a couple of minutes away by bike, we are in Sakurabashi. Probably the stage of one of my favorite scenes from the movie, from which I get my favorite quote. Kondo wa kondo, ima wa ima. Next time is next time. Now is now. I never really understood what that meant in the movie, but it struck with me somehow. I managed to spot also a band playing for some public functions. It's crazy, what can you find on a Sunday morning around? Managed to take a lot of interesting pictures during this trip, so I'm very happy about how they turned out. I really loved doing this tour because it made me explore some secondary alleyways from which I don't usually pass on the daily commute, of course because they're out of my way, or I want to get the fastest route anyway. But it's always nice to explore a little bit aimlessly. Who knows, maybe you could find a sriracha sauce vending machine, and I'm not even joking. Also, spent a lot of time admiring the beautiful architecture that blends between tradition and modernity. This one is another bathhouse. Next up is gonna be Nobu, the bar that is frequented by the protagonists. I think it's closed right now because it doesn't show up on the maps anymore, and the lantern has been removed. Now it's just a light bulb. Although the exterior remained with these cute little piggies. Heading down in the heart of Asakusa for the last location in this area. The locations from this movie are quite close to each other but divided in two groups. Here we just witnessed the areas around the house of the protagonist, and then we'll move to the other side of Tokyo, roughly 1 hour by bike, to get to the actual toilets, probably the most iconic part of the movie. We also get to admire the beautiful sensoji. And the next stop is in the heart of Asakusa, Chikyudo, the used bookshop where the protagonist gets his books. I really like Asakusa. It's a wonderful blend of modern and traditional, although it can get pretty crowded if you go there on weekends. We got 1 hour of biking ahead of us, which has been way more long and difficult than showed in this video. Especially because I've managed to encounter some hills, despite Tokyo not being a hilly city at all. It was completely worth it though. Once we get to the other side, we'll stop for a quick lunch break, coffee, and then we'll be back on track. Crossing the whole city, managed to see some interesting stuff and beautiful scenarios as well, among which a full-scale roller coaster on the roof of a shopping mall. And when you did think you already seen everything, you're probably wrong, or you haven't been to Japan yet. Of course, I'm generalizing by now. I think this tour was probably one of the best ways to get around the city and seeing some places I've never seen before, and really glad I managed to go on this adventure. I also watched Probably Writing's take on this tour, and I really appreciated it. In his video he showed more toilets than I did in this one, so if you want a more detailed and thorough tour of the actual toilets, I'd recommend to check out his video. It's quite old, but you'll find it easily. It's quite famous. And also this video maybe is a tribute to his channel, which started this little project of mine. Used to watch his videos with my roommate when we were living in Venice for university. And this idea, I have to say, started from there. Although I never actually started making videos until a couple of months after, but here we are. And I have to say I'm pretty glad about how this project is proceeding. Especially with the last video, there has been a lot of interaction, especially in the comments, and I want to thank everyone for sticking around and leaving a comment. It really means a lot, and it's very wholesome to read and reply to all of your insights and kind words. So thank you again. I hope you won't get bored when I'll go away from Tokyo. Jokes aside, we arrived at the very first toilet of this tour. This one is in Yoyogi Hachimangu. Very simple design, but very welcoming, I have to say. Reminds me of some mushrooms. And also, it's right at the entrance of this beautiful park, which is also featured in the movie. It's the location where the protagonist stops for lunch break and takes his photos of komorebi, the light that filters through the trees, just like here. And I have to say, I've been planning to have my lunch break here as well. Took my time to relax and exploring the park a little bit. We're back on a bike for a quick coffee break, right behind the park. In this beautiful alleyway that leads to these very famous train tracks. I'm pretty sure I've seen that on YouTube before. And also, we're starting to spot the first bike exemplars of Tokyo. Anyway, coffee break at Little Nap coffee stand for a nice espresso. And right in front of the cafe, the glass toilets. Those that get opaque when you enter. Actually, these two were always opaque, so I think they had something wrong with the system. But they're still beautiful nonetheless, very colorful. I also stumbled upon this beautiful surly straggler and talked a little bit with the owner about bikes and Blue Log in particular. Very kind. Moving down south, speaking about Blue Log, we're reaching Blue Log Yoyogi, which is right on our way from one toilet to another, so might as well pay a visit. This one so far has been my favorite bike shop. I think I found it a little bit less overwhelming rather than Blue Log Hatagaya, which of course is the biggest one, so I guess it's normal that it's more packed with stuff. But here as well, they were not joking, I think. Full of components, parts, goodies, and complete bikes as well. I have to say this Swift Industries handlebar bag is on my wish list. I think I'll sleep on it for a little bit and decide in the future. Back on track. I quite fancy this logistic company and their logo with the cat. I really like their designs of their uniforms, their cargo bikes, and their vehicles in general. I don't know. I just like them. There's not a particular reason. Maybe it's just because of the cute cats. Yoyogi is a beautiful area to be in. I think it's quite rich because, architecturally speaking, lots of single-story houses and individual villas, so it's quite nice to admire the architectural variety on this place. Right in the heart of Yoyogi, Nabeshima Shoto, the park in which we find the next toilet in our tour. Probably my favorite one, with this wooden design, reminds me of a forest without leaves. I also like how it is displaced in multiple floors with the stairs. And the fact that it's facing a nice little pond. moving on to the nearby Nakameguro for a second coffee break, because this tour was originally meant to be just in the morning, but it ended up being the whole day, so some breaks were necessary. Right now, as I said, we're in Nakameguro, reaching for one of my favorite coffee places so far, Onibus. A little coffee nook with this wooden and green design, which I love. This time the barista also had a nice stuffed on the side of the shop. And this time I got a nice little iced coffee. Their espresso is wonderful as well, but so far I think iced coffee in Japan is the best I've ever tried. They definitely do better with filter and cold brew rather than espresso. Maybe I still need to find the right place, or maybe I should just stop getting espresso in Japan. I think I will probably stick to cold brew in the following months, considering that a scorching Japanese summer is arriving. On to the last toilet of our tour, we are approaching Ebisu Park. With its minimalistic and brutalist concrete toilet, I think it blends pretty well with the greenery of the park. Alright, this is the end of our little tour. Didn't show you all the toilets, but I think we've covered the main ones, at least my favorites. And at the end of the day, it has been a good 45 to 50 kilometers ride, so I'm very satisfied and very tired as well. As always, I hope you enjoyed, and let me know your thoughts if you watched the movie or if you're going to watch it. And as always, thank you for sticking around, and I'll see you soon.